Now I'm thrilled to introduce Angela Gaffney to talk about the topic, how to care for ourselves through change. This is a time where we're all taking care of so many things, our families, our businesses, in ways that we can't even begin to imagine or understand. As Angela talks about how we can care for ourselves through this change, it's important to remember that we do take that time and worry about our own personal well-being too. Angela tells me this is possible, so I look forward to hearing from her about that. If anyone knows the ins and outs of creating health in stressful times, it's our speaker today. Angela is the best-selling author of Feel Good, Look Good for Life. She's a certified health coach and an international speaker who's inspired thousands to achieve health and excel in their careers. Angela's spoken to the SPE audience before, and I'm a follower, and I know she has a lot of other followers for her lifestyle inspirations. Angela's story of perseverance will inspire you, and her simple strategies will create ease in your life, which I think we could all use today. If you want to feel good, increase energy, and reduce stress in your life, then you are in the right place. Angela is the catalyst for transformation, a 3-time author, and she is quite the game changer. So with that, let's give a big ANTEC welcome to Angela Gaffney. Angela, welcome.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate being here, and I'm really excited to share with all of you. I just have to say, listening to both Jim and Tom, I learned a lot as a consumer, and I just want to say thank you to start off for the amazing work you do, because our garage is filled with plastic storage bins. Our automobiles thrive because of you, and thank you for the care and concern and dedication you give to the medical applications and healthcare needs, obviously, in this time especially. So, and on a little side note, a fun note, I grew up near Dow Chemical and went to school at Saginaw Valley State University, so I'm very familiar, and I have family who are working on these same challenges through Dow and other by other means as well. So thank you for the work you do. Today, this time that I share with you is all about you. So I would ask you throughout the time together to use that Q&A box. Make sure that you're putting your questions in there, because Patrick will help me in time, take some time to answer your questions and address your needs. The thing today is that there's a lot going on. And how do we care for ourselves when we're caring for a lot of others and caring for the needs that are in place right now? So just a typical day now looks very different than before. We have probably children at home, maybe like I do, that are managing school, maybe both spouses working from home, maybe you've been furloughed or have to pause for a moment with work. Whatever the challenge may be, I want you to know that we can actually be healthy through it all. And today I want to inspire and educate and share some strategies to help you do just that. This crisis reminds me of a day back in November of 2008. This is what the picture of the day looked like. It was gorgeous outside, a blue sky, Colorado day, and I was so full of hope, just like we all are full of hope on a daily basis. And I was driving to my doctor's office after awaiting a diagnosis for almost 2 years. If you've taken part in any of my other teachings, you may know my story. But the deal was, I was so hopeful, because after 2 years of being diagnosed with multiple autoimmune conditions, no one could tell me what was going on with the muscular and fatigue issues I was having, but Dr. Smith knew, and the nurse told me he was going to share the news on November 4th, 2008, sorry. So I drove down to the office, did the 1-hour drive, feeling so excited, and I got into the office only to receive the news that the good news was he knew exactly what was going on in my body. He shared that I had a rare neuromuscular disease called mitochondrial myopathy. The bad news, though, is what followed. And he shared that while we knew what was going on, the bad news was it was a progressive disease. It would attack my organ systems one after the next. I would experience things like drooping eyelids, blindness, diabetes, paralysis, and in time, it would take my life. And I realized in that news, At first, I was told to go home and prepare for what was to come. But thereafter, something shifted for me, and I realized, and you have a choice in how you want to show up for all of this. You have a choice on how you want to partake in preparing for what's to come, preparing for a disease to take my life. And I think that it's no different going to that doctor's office and receiving that news to this situation that we're in today. In that doctor's office, I kind of felt like a bomb dropped out of the top of the sky and just hit me. And I'm sure many of you feel like that right now. Things have shifted so quickly, not just from a work standpoint, working from home, but just the care and concern for our own health and well-being of our family, of our friends, of our colleagues, and making sure that we can stay productive. So one of the things I'd love for you to do today, as you think about caring for yourself, is really understanding that the secret behind this is understanding and recognizing that we have a choice in how we want to participate in all of it. And that is a privilege and an honor and something to be exercised beautifully every single day. I found myself in times of illness and thereafter feeling like I had to do a lot of things. Oh, now I have to manage the kids' school load, and I have to, manage the demands of work, and everything is shifting for my business. And I have to be quarantined, and I have to. There are a lot of have-tos that play a role in our life right now. And what I would really encourage you to do is shift it into a positive perspective, because it helps. And instead of saying, I have to, I want you to switch to this frame of mind that says, yes, I get to. Because yes, I get to means that we have a choice. The yes, I get to means that there is some gratitude to be had in all of this. And the yes, I get to means that in times of great challenge, in times of unknown and uncharted territory, we have never experienced anything like this, at least in my lifetime. And I hope never to have to again, but the probability is there. So how can we learn and how can we navigate this new territory, this new water? Part of it is realizing that we have a choice every morning when we wake up on how we want to participate in it. And my goodness, we get to. It is a privilege that I get to be here to share this time with my kids. It's a privilege and honor that I have more time, shoulder to shoulder with my husband, because we're working in the same house. And yes, I get to do some house projects or whatever you fill your time with on the weekends during this quarantine and safe shelter. So the care for ourselves begins with this idea that we have a choice. And one of the biggest choices I realized, and kind of a mindset shift that took place for me in my state of illness, was that this body of mine was really my number one fan. I started thinking the fact is that it shows up for me every single day, regardless often of how I show up for it in return. And maybe you're in the same boat. Because when we have high demands, when we're shifting our structure, when it looks differently, when we're managing extra things at home, maybe managing the needs of elderly or aging parents or neighbors, or helping out or volunteering, it's a lot. And this body of ours really needs a lot of love and attention back, because it gives and gives and gives all day long. And in order to really hone in on that number one fan, we really have got to think about it as a relationship, just as we have a relationship with colleagues at work, just as well as we have a relationship with our spouse or significant other, with our children, with our extended family. They're all relationships. And it's really a cool experience to have all these different relationships in life, especially this one with your number one fan. So today is really a perspective on how do you care for that number one fan? How do you choose to show up? Because it matters. So as Patrick shared, I'm a certified health coach, and my training was in two areas specifically: whole food nutrition and life fulfillment. So how do we nourish and fuel the body with the food that we eat, as well as how do we go ahead and make sure that our life choices are of high quality too. When we consider remaining healthy and caring for ourselves and caring for this number one fan, the fact of the matter is food absolutely matters. I've had calls from clients and friends and family alike, all saying kind of the same thing. And what do we do? How do we manage this? I'm finding myself diving right into the tub of Ben and Jerry's. We're stressed out and things look differently. And sometimes that leads to not so nourishing habits. So while I will not spend a long period of time on food, I could, and I'd love to, it is a primary key factor in maintaining your health through all of this. Now, this Food Matters slide has beautiful, colorful, variety of foods on it. These are what matter most, is plant-based foods. If you've followed my work, if you've spent time with me on our other SPE virtual classes, you will know that I preach a lot about phytonutrients, which are just naturally occurring chemical compounds that are found in these plant-based foods. And those phytochemicals are going to fight for you. And those foods also have a robust amount of antioxidants to help support your body, decrease stress within your body, and make sure that your immune system stays healthy and strong. So these phytonutrients, they're just naturally occurring chemical compounds found in these plant-based foods. And we need to, oh, you don't see my slides, let's see. We need to fuel up on a lot of them. Let me see, guys, I just got a message that my slide cannot be seen. So let's see here, share. Please let me know if you can see the slide now.
Yes, we're seeing your slide.
Yeah, just pop that up so I can read. I apologize for that. I don't know. Because they fuel the body and protect your immune system and protect your organs and help fight for health. So what do you need in a given day? I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but this is what it looks like. In order to boost your immune system and focus on these beautiful, colorful, that's where the phytonutrients reside, is in the color of the food. This is what it looks like. It's about 1.5 cups of fruit, 2 cups of leafy greens, 4 cups of vegetables, a cup or so of whole grains, a 1/2 cup of beans, and maybe a couple ounces of nuts or seeds. And some of you might be saying, oh my gosh, this is way over the top. I'm here to tell you, it's okay, just start wherever you are. But I will tell you, when our body is experiencing increased stress, as it is during this time, it's really important to focus mindfully on the food choices that you make, because we can very quickly slip into feeding the stress that we're feeling with high sugar foods. And that's just going to lower our immune system and not keep us as healthy as we need to be during this time of shift and change. So these are the amounts of foods that you need. Just take it one day at a time and try to incorporate 1 cup of something, whether that's leafy greens or vegetables, to help your body out, and build from there. It's called the crowding out method. It just means we're going to put more nourishment into our life and into our body. And as we build that up and up, it crowds out in a natural way the not so nourishing choices we might be making. So that's where we really want to focus from a food perspective, is how do we boost our immune system and keep these beautiful, colorful foods that taste amazing in your diet. Now, I know right now a lot of us are in safe shelter mode, and we're making only essential trips, and perishable goods you can't always get, every single day, maybe like you have in the past. So do your best. You can focus on some frozen fare as well to help your body. But I promise you, if you fuel up with these foods, your body's going to have sustained energy throughout the day so that you can be productive with your work needs and managing kids and all of that. And it's going to help you sleep at night, and you're going to just genuinely feel better. It will help reduce pain in the body. If you have joint inflammation, it'll help with fatigue and just overall positivity and energy in the body, which I know most of us all want a little more of. So if you have thoughts on food or you want to ask questions, pop those into your Q&A box now so that we can address them towards the end of our time together, because I'd really like to move on to some of our other key points, which is what do we do with stress and how can we lead and grow through times of change? One other key point that I wanted to share is that when you think about those relationships that I was talking about, relationships with food is no different. So I just want to touch on this for a moment. There are typically 4 categories that someone might fall into when they consider their eating, right? And the first is all or nothing, where you're either all in or you're absolutely out. Good or bad, where you just start describing yourself as, oh, I've been so good with what I've been eating, and then you fall off course and you start describing yourself as bad. I had a client who would do that all the time. She'd say, Angela, I was so good for almost the whole 2 weeks, and then I overate or I dipped into this and I was so bad. But these words don't really fuel a positive relationship for us. And this on-plan, off-plan idea, if you're on a program that's going to help you achieve health, it comes to an end. It's finite, and it's not focusing on long-term, life-shifting change. And that's where we really want to move people into the feel good, look good for life category. The reason I bring this up is because I really want you to consider your mindset around how you nourish your body and nourish your life. And that starts with relationships. And even though this is a common area of relationships for food and people, it would never, ever survive in any other relationship. Can you imagine showing up for work one day and you meet with your CEO and you say, maybe it's Jim you're talking with, you work for Dow, and you say, Jim, I want to let you know, I'm all in this month. I'll give it everything I've got. But thereafter, it's nothing. Or you show up to your spouse and say, hey, you know what? I thought I might stay on plan this week, but next week I'm out. I'm off plan. I'm doing whatever I want to do. It doesn't work. So when you think about nourishing your body, please think about your relationship with the food that you're eating. Think about the relationship with the stress that you're experiencing and your relationship with your number one fan and how you're serving it. Because feeling good, looking good, it's all about making sure that you're just making one high quality choice after the next. And healthy living through times of crisis or shift or change, or times where you're working in the plastics industry on educating consumers in sustainability, which I commend you for. I want to learn more. It's about the quality of your work. It's about the quality of communication. Every choice matters in life, and it's always about the quality. Quantity doesn't matter much. I want to give you a little example of that, aside from food. Because my office right here is off the front door. It's got some glass French doors. And my kids would get off the bus and they'd walk in, specifically my son I'm thinking of. He'd get home earlier. And I'd say, hey, bud, from behind my computer, how's it going? And he'd say, oh, it was fine. I'd say, get your snack and get your homework done. I'll be done in a few hours. And I thought I was doing a great job. The quantity and consistency of me saying hello was absolutely there. But he came home one day and he was in tears about something that happened at school, completely unrelated to my day. And I said, buddy, what's the matter? And he goes on about what's happened at school. And then he says, and Mom, I got to tell you, you're never here after school for me. And I kind of got defensive. What are you talking about? I'm always here. Unless I'm traveling, I'm here. But what I realized is while the quantity of care was there, hey, buddy, behind my computer screen, the quality was severely lacking. And so I shifted, and we have to shift in times of change like this. What does the quality of your day look like? The quality of your choices you're making for yourself and your children and spouse and colleagues in business? I told my assistant, please do not schedule calls anymore between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. And when he'd get home from school, I'd leave my office, might put my arm around him, walk him to the kitchen and say, how was your day? Tell me the funniest thing that happened. He's old enough and capable to make his own food, but I would work with him to make him a snack. I'd ask him what he had for homework and tell him what I was going to finish up for the day. It might have taken me 5 to 7 minutes. And oh my goodness, it filled up his bucket. Quality absolutely matters. And the quality of every choice we make matters in life. So when we think about how to stay healthy through change, the one thing that I'd leave you with from a number one fan perspective is there is no better place to live than in a healthy, happy body. But you, my friends, are in charge of that. No one can do it for you. So put this little quote up somewhere or whatever inspires you to think about the quality of your choices. Because sometimes when we're just working from a place of stress and productivity and trying to get things done and not clearly thinking about the long-term effects, we lose sight of this. And that's when we start maybe making not so nourishing choices or just filling our space with quantity versus quality. So nourishment is a pretty interesting word. It is about sustaining with food and nutrients for the body. It's about doing what's necessary for your life and health and growth. It's about cherishing and fostering and keeping alive and supporting and strengthening, building up and promoting. I love this word because if we all were to think about nourishment as our top priority when we are leading a company, or nourishment when we're trying to feed our body, or nourishment when we're trying to nourish our people at home. It is about strengthening and building up and supporting and promoting. And unless we're making conscious choices about how we do all that, we're probably going to fall short, me included. I'm not here because I'm perfect or I've got it all figured out, but I've learned a lot through my own crises and through the schooling and working with clients for now 9.5 years. If we can't keep nourishment on top of mind, sometimes things start falling through the cracks. And it's very easy for things to fall through the cracks when we think about stress. And stress, interestingly enough, I'd love for you to think about what stresses you most. And if you want some specific tools for that I haven't covered, put in your Q&A box and I can answer it in a bit. But stress is something that none of us are void of. It is always present. Some days the stress level is really high, other days it's pretty low. Here's what I have to tell you, stress is actually a positive, necessary response in our body. And I'm sure you're aware of that. If I were to walk out the front door and twist my ankle off the step, hopefully I don't do that, but if I did, my body would experience a stress response and my body would send extra blood flow and what it needs to my ankle to heal it up. Or if I walk out and get chased by a bear because we live in the woods, my body would start bursting with adrenaline and cortisol, and I would do what I need to do in that moment of emergency to manage. But the problem is, we're being chased by bears every single day. The demands are high. We're overscheduled. There's unresponsiveness from other people in the workplace that are holding us up from our response. Work demands are high. We're putting out fires. There's lack of time and support. Maybe you don't feel like you can unplug at all because you're shifting and everything just feels a lot of overload and overwhelm right now. But the problem is, if we cannot calm the body, take a deep breath after the stress takes place, and allow our body to repair, rejuvenate, reset, we're in for a challenging road because there are over 50 different symptoms that can show up just due to chronic stress. And these symptoms, I've got to tell you, they're not like far-fetched things. We've all had days where it's hard to concentrate or we can't make a decision to save our lives. Maybe we feel fatigue or we've got some tummy issues or we're tired and maybe moody and irritable. This is pretty common. And when we aren't in touch with this relationship with our number one fan, sometimes we can experience these things and not even make a correlation between what the body's experiencing and the stress response. And the problem too is that if we don't get these symptoms under control, over time, we'll experience disease. Do you guys know how long it actually takes for disease to set in? Because I didn't know until I went through my crisis, went back to school. 6 to 10 years, or 8 to 10 on average. Can happen a little earlier on the 6-year side, but 8 to 10 years on average is the amount of time it takes for disease to set in. So every choice we make today matters, not just for how we show up for today at work with the kids, with their spouse. It's about how it's fueling our body for health for the long term. So how can we care for ourselves in the midst of great change and stress so that we can mitigate these symptoms? And how could you help your teams, if you're managing people, do the same? It's really important, and that's what I want to focus on next. The first idea is you guys have to take breaks in the day. We run at such a high speed that sometimes your first break is when you put your feet up at the end of the day and your body is so fatigued, you feel like you're just gonna pass out. Can't even watch the program on the TV or engage in conversation because you're that wiped out and spent. We have to take quick breaks throughout the day just to be still and let our body relax. The other thing is breath, breathing. It's free, it's portable, it's accessible anytime, anywhere. And taking deep abdominal breaths can actually lower cortisol in your body, provide your adrenal glands a break. And your adrenal glands need a break. Basically, their main role in life is to manage your stress. So if they're having to manage stress all day long, it can be really overwhelming for them. So these little organs need your help. So breath work. And some of you might be very, very well practiced in different breathing practices and in different modalities. But today, for the sake of this program, I just want to do one thing with you from a breath standpoint, is we're just going to take full abdominal breaths. I'm going to have you pause for a second, take a little extra breath in, pause, and then exhale. And at the end of the exhale, I'm going to ask you to give a little extra push to exhale all the air before breathing in again. So do me a favor, if you feel comfortable in your own space, I'd love for you to place your feet flat on the floor. Allow your hands to rest calmly in your lap. You can relax your shoulders a little bit. We're just going to take a few deep breaths to help calm your body, allow you to digest the information that Tom and Jim shared and I'm giving to you now. And just take a moment to breathe. So close your eyes and join me. I'm going to guide you through this. Just take a nice deep belly breath in through the nose, filling the whole abdomen with air. When you think you've filled it all the way up, take a little extra breath in and pause. And then exhale through the mouth, nice and slow, like a little silk ribbon of air, leaving the body, and give a little extra push at the end. And breathe in again through the nose, filling your whole abdomen with air. Take a little extra in, pause, and exhale, like a little silk ribbon of air, leaving the body. And when you feel like you've exhaled everything, give a little extra push. Breathe in through the nose again, filling your whole abdomen, relaxing your shoulders, focusing on that breath, fueling your body. Pause. When you're ready, exhale, allowing everything, the stress, maybe negativity, worry, concern, leave your body just as it is with breath. One more breath in through the nose, filling your whole abdomen. Just feeling your body relax and energize, a little extra in and pause. And exhale. Knowing that you have everything you need to choose wisely and participate in a new way. And when you're ready to join me again, you can open your eyes and come back together. I'd love to hear any questions you have, or I'd love to know what this provided you at the end, if you want to just share in the Q&A box. Breath is so powerful. And can you imagine, hopefully, you feel a little clear-headed, right? Where you have more clarity, or maybe the cobwebs have gone away, or maybe your shoulders and neck have relaxed a bit. Breath work allows you to shift mindset into a place of refreshment. It gives you a new perspective. And when we're feeling stressed and compact and overwhelmed with everything there is to do, this is a fantastic opportunity to alleviate some of that and just take ownership of the situation and choose to participate in a healthy, mindful way. So use breath. As I said, it's portable, it's accessible anytime, anywhere. And you can explore others that I love. 4-7-8 breathing by Dr. Andrew Weil, W-E-I-L. Very fabulous, very powerful to help you sleep better at night and mitigate stress throughout the day. And if you suffer from depression or anxiety, you can also alleviate some of those symptoms with the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And another one I love is box breathing. Navy SEALs are taught this so that they can stay calm in times of stress. And when they're diving, they can hold their breath for a longer period of time. So check those out. Let me know if there's one that you love more than another, and keep me posted on how this serves your body well. It's free, it's accessible. Just schedule time to do it in those quick breaks. I tell everyone, every hour on the hour, give yourself 10 full breaths. It'll make a difference. So while breathing is important, there's some other things we can do too. Plenty of research shows that movement is absolutely necessary to mitigate stress in the body. It will energize us. It will decrease inflammation in the body. It will help us stay alert and energetic and productive all day long. And my concern is that if we're shifting our structure, we can no longer go to the gym. It's hard to find sometimes space or time when you're managing so much at home. It's absolutely necessary and important to schedule time in for exercise. Whether it's getting up in the morning and going through an hour of exercise, if that's what suits your fancy, that's great, but it's not necessary. Get in 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day of just some high impact exercise or a beautiful walk with the dog to get your heart rate up. Movement matters, and it's a very, very, again, easily accessible, free tool to use anytime, anywhere, and it will mitigate stress in the body. And I would encourage you to get your kids out to do that with you, or your husband or wife. Or there are lots of online virtual classes. Grab your colleagues if you want to and do a workout together before the start of the workday. I've seen people doing that as well. We need to take time to structure these activities into our day, or they will go unnoticed and unpracticed. And we don't want that. So get some movement into the day, whatever works best for you. But get up and move. And if you have a stand-up desk, fantastic, that will help too. Do some push-ups at your desk, do some seated squats, chair squats, do some planks, whatever helps, but get there, get that body moving, your number one fan. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about sleep. Sleep is a huge, huge gift to the body. It helps us repair, it helps us rejuvenate and get our organs ready for the next day's needs. And right now, those needs are a lot. My apologies. So sleep, here's what I'd ask you to do. When structure is out of sort, in order to manage the stress in our lives, make sure that you're on top of your sleep routine and treat yourself like a baby. When we think about toddlers or small children, we definitely do not let them watch TV for hours and hours above, right before bed. We don't hand them a computer and have them do technology stuff before bed. We get them showered up. Nice warm hot shower. We put their pajamas on them, read a nice story, get them calmed down, maybe put a little lavender in the room, and they go to sleep. In times of shift and change and stress and increased demands, it's very easy for us to just work or to just be busy and not get the sleep that we need. So adults need, on average, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And if you're one of those people saying, well, Ange, I got it all figured out. I've been sleeping for 5 hours a night for years now, and I do just fine. Well, what I would tell you is we all get used to functioning at whatever level we are at. And the body needs more than that. So just start with incremental shifts in your sleep routine if you're not getting the sleep you need right now. Just move your sleep time back by 15 minutes per week. So if you're going to bed at midnight right now, cut it back to 11:45, and then in a week, 11:30, and so on and so forth, until you reach a good 7 to 8 hour window of sleep time for you. If you think about boosting your immune system and staying healthy in times where COVID is spreading, and we're just concerned about other viruses and flu bugs and whatever else can come up during this time of year as well, we want to make sure that our body is adequately prepared to fight off any of those offenders coming in. So sleep is absolutely important when it comes to that. So let's talk about leading and growing through change. So far, we've talked about how food can help support the body and health. We've talked about how to mitigate stress with breathing and movement and getting adequate sleep and just taking breaks in the day. You've got to schedule the time or you will run yourself right into the ground. And that's not like healthy or good, especially at this time with the needs of your immune system. And we talked about in the beginning, the secret to staying healthy through change is realizing that you have a choice in the matter. And this definitely rings true when you think about leading and growing through change, whether that means leading a team in your industry or leading your kids at home through their schooling needs. We want to be present and open and very mindful through this time of change. And one thing that is very powerful when we think about leading and growing ourselves is power of words. Because words make a huge, incredible impact on the people around us, and the words that we allow into our own minds make a big impact on us. I don't know about you, but it's very easy, especially now, to get caught up in the news and to read article after article after article about hardship and challenge with the COVID-19, or maybe you're reading the same with some of the challenges you're facing in your industry. Or maybe your spouse is going through difficulty with work and being furloughed or laid off, or who knows, but the power of words plays an immense role in how we're able to participate in the shift and change that's taking place. They come from all over the place too. 3 areas where the power of words were really impactful for me after my health crisis was, number 1, the gentleman who diagnosed me, Dr. Smith. I'll never forget the first visit I had with him. I had seen doctor after doctor after doctor trying to figure out what was going on in my body, and no one could tell me what the problem was. And doctor after doctor would say things like, "Oh, Mrs. Gaffney, you're just out of shape. Just, go get yourself a membership at a gym and a personal trainer can help you." But I knew that I could be out of shape, but I should still be able to walk. I'd been hospitalized because I couldn't walk for days because of my neuromuscular issues. I had other doctors tell me I was just depressed, that I had just had a baby and it happens, and they could prescribe an antidepressant and that would help. And I knew that depression is hard and very difficult, but people with depression didn't experience my specific symptoms. Something else was going on. So I knew in my heart of hearts it was wrong answer. And the last thing that I heard multiple times was just that it was just all in my head. And that wasn't correct either. So you can imagine my excitement when I showed up at the doctor's office. I knew he could tell me maybe what was going on, or it was hopeful at least. And I had all these different diagnoses leading up, and I sat down with him for the very first time, and he said, "Angela, I'm so glad that you're here." He said, "I don't have an answer right now, but if you can be patient and work with me as a team, I think I can figure it out." I thought, oh my gosh, this man wants me to work with him as a team? That's something I've been trying to do this whole 2 years' time. And it provided me so much hope that he wanted to work with me on this. So as challenges come up for you during this time of shift and change, think about how you can work with someone for an outcome, a desired outcome. Another time was after diagnosis, when I was told to go home and prepare for what was to come. I told you I had that moment where my mindset shifted, thinking of how to die gracefully. And I thought, why are you trying to figure out how to die gracefully when every ounce of your being just wants to live? And in that moment, it was the moment that I thought, and you have a choice in this. You have a choice in how you want to show up every single day. And I had a choice to participate in a new way and take ownership of my actions. So those were self-fed words that helped me heal my body and show up in a new way. And let me tell you, I had a lot to overhaul. And the third time was after diagnosis, I just wanted to do something for myself. So I signed up to do this restorative yoga class. And in the class, I made it through. It was a really big challenge because my muscles were having a lot of issues. And I laid down, and in Shavasana, you just lay down and you relax at the end of yoga class, I learned. This song came on. I had never heard it in the past, and it was saying things like, when you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you're so tired but you can't sleep, you're stuck in reverse. It was a song by Coldplay called Fix You. And it grabbed me so tightly, that song did. Every word spoke to me. And I started crying. And I couldn't stop the tears. The yoga instructor came over and just laid a towel over my eyes and let me just be. And sometimes in moments of shift like this, or if you're experiencing difficulty, or someone you love is experiencing illness, it can be really hard. So be mindful of the music you listen to and the words that you allow into your space. Feel whatever you need to feel, and use words to help yourself navigate through it. One of my favorite quotes is by Mr. Fred Rogers. If you've ever watched the Mr. Rogers show, he says, whatever is mentionable is manageable. And the reason I wanted to share this quote with you today is because when you think about leading and growing through this time of shift and change, and really navigating uncharted territory that we've never been down before, we have to talk to one another and stay connected. We cannot sit in our space of negativity, because one negative thought will surely feed the next and the next and the next, and pretty soon we're just spiraling. And that spiraling feeds all the stress in our body, the overwhelm we feel, the worry that goes on and on and on about things that are out of our control. So I would encourage you as leaders, reach out to your team. Make sure that the expectations you have of them during this time of shift and change and working from home, and your team is all remote, let them know what the expectations are. Let them know if there's flexibility to be had when they're managing other challenges at home, like having children homeschool, and spouses working from home, and the setup might look different. So what are the expectations? What does the flexibility look and feel like? And how can you support them? Now, I will tell you, this is not to open up a vent session for every teammate you have. Offer them opportunity, though, to discuss their needs, their worries, concerns about business, and make sure that they still come to you with solution-based ideas. I remember in managing my team of 18 years ago, they would come to me sometimes and just have a vent session. They would be complaining or concerned or something about an issue going on within business. And after time, I thought, this is taking a lot of my time, and they're coming to me because they want direction. So what I started to tell them is, I'd love to speak with you. I gave certain times of the day they could talk about any issues or challenges they're faced with. But I also shared that in order for us to all grow and expand, I wanted them to come to the table with 2 to 3 solution-based ideas along with the issue at hand. And it allowed them to grow and expand and get creative. And it allowed me to support them in this growth without taking it all on myself. So offer up the expectations and flexibility if there is some. And offer up time for you to be able to just talk to your direct reports and also to your management and maybe your own colleagues, so that you can be brainstorming, getting creative about how to shift and navigate through this. Because if we keep it all to ourselves, I promise you there'll be a lot of worry and concern and just hardship that shows up. And we don't need any of those symptoms of stress infiltrating our space and life right now when there's already enough going on. So make it mentionable, because whatever is mentionable is manageable. And sometimes the unknown for direct reports is really difficult because they worry about it a lot. And a couple other thoughts I have on this idea of leading and growing through change is we have technology applications out there, an abundance of them. Zoom is one of my favorite platforms. It's what we're using today for this, as well as what I use daily to connect with clients and do classes, etc. But fulfillment is necessary in life, and fulfillment looks very different than success. Fulfillment is about the joy and whole and completeness we feel as a result of our efforts or result of connection. And that fulfillment comes from connection with others. It's not about the tasks that we complete. That feels good, that helps us be successful and productive. But fulfillment comes from the connection that we have with others. So how, in a remote way, can we stay connected? Because I promise if we do have that connection, our stress levels will go down. We'll be able to feel more fulfilled in life. And when we are fulfilled, it relates to and correlates to making higher quality choices because we feel good. And fulfillment comes not from just any connection. It comes from genuine connection with others. It comes from those conversations like I just mentioned about, mentioning things. It comes from saying, hey, Patrick, how are you doing through all these shifts? Or asking someone what perspective they can offer versus your own in a positive way. Let's stay connected via phone, writing notes, email, but get on calls like this where you can see one another, have a few laughs, and really take a break from the demands of the day. Those quick little breaks I had mentioned before, it's a perfect opportunity just to reach out to someone, make a list, and make a couple calls every day. Because connection matters, and it's what provides fulfillment. And when we're feeling fulfilled, that allows us to feel less stress, more ease, and the overwhelm will not build up. So stay connected with one another. I've shared a few things so far about the food we need to eat, about how we have a choice in every matter. A few tips around stress, taking time to have breaks. Your body needs to just breathe and slow down. Get some movement, make sure your sleep is on track. And then from a leading and growing perspective, we talked about how the power of words matter. The words that you use for others and the words that you allow into your own space. So how are you using the power of words to fuel your day, your positivity, your productivity, and your health? And how do you seek out fulfillment through connection with others? These are all key factors when it comes to staying healthy through change, crisis, or just healthy in general, even when the day is easy as you would love it to be. How are you doing all of this? It can be very overwhelming to think about doing all of these things overnight to shift. So I want you to consider what your one thing will be. Where can you start? Because I don't want to add on additional stress when you have all of this other stuff already impacting the success of your health. But you can always choose one thing, whether that's making sure you take breaks throughout the day, whether it's making sure that breathing becomes a normal standard practice. Every hour, top of the hour, you take your 5 to 10 breaths. Or maybe it's the food or sleep, or focusing on the connection with others so that you have more fulfillment in life. I would like you to pick your one thing and just jot it down in your notepad with a big circle around it so that when you leave today, conference, ANTEC, you can think about doing that one thing and then you implement it. Because as wonderful as all of this conversation is and this idea sharing, nothing shifts in your life unless you implement something. So pick your one thing and know that if you want extra resources, you feel like this could be a good opportunity to have more support for you and your stress levels and your health, you can text HEALTHY, all caps, to 66866. And that just puts you into our community. And we will email you every Tuesday morning with some tips and strategies around whole food nutrition and life fulfillment to help you stay on track. So feel free to text that now or write it down for later. But those will just be additional tools to help guide you and support you, because implementation can be challenging, especially with everything going on in a day's time. So I would love to open up with some questions. I think Patrick's going to help me with that. One thought before we do that, or as Patrick's looking through the log there, I want to share that health is all about progression. It has nothing to do with perfection. So please make sure that as you think about incorporating maybe one thing or two things, that you're giving yourself some grace and opportunity just to make one high quality choice at a time, followed by another high quality choice. We don't have to be perfect all day long, but rather focus one choice at a time and let it build. So Patrick, do we have some questions?
We have tons of questions, Angela. I hope you have a couple of minutes to share with us. The first question is actually mine. You mentioned that you have bears in your yard. Is that a true thing? Because now I have a lot of stress about worrying about you getting eaten. So is this true?
I share that story because our second day living here, we live in what's called Castle Pines Village. It's full of pine trees. There are bears everywhere. And one slept in my truck. I had a Dodge Durango at the time. And he slept in there for a night, our second time in the house, because I left a little protein bar wrapper in the door. So the bears are very much present. And
you're surprisingly calm about that. That's interesting. That's
yeah.
interesting. So, all right, I'll try to not worry about you every day now. So
you don't have to worry.
Okay, good.
They don't want to hurt us, but if it did chase me, I'd hope my body would go into an appropriate stress response.
The second question is, in your food chart, there was not any mention of meats, proteins, or dairy. How do those
everybody wants to know.
Fit into that, please?
Yeah, where's the bacon, right? Is what everybody wants to know. So I like to let everyone know, because some people ask, I am not vegan or vegetarian. I have tried that in the past. It didn't work so well for me. I would like the animal protein. Here's how I would guide you. It is about 60 to probably 80% of your dinner plate or lunch plate, breakfast, should be full of those beautiful plant-based foods we talked about. So if you just picture it, half of your plate full of bright, beautiful vegetables, etc., and then you've got some whole grains in there, the other little 25% should be healthy protein source. And if you'd like to choose organic animal products, so organic meat or wild-caught seafood, fantastic. Or for vegetarians, opt for non-GMO organic tofu or bean sources and things like that. Dairy, and the other thing I should tell you that should be on that plate is healthy fat. Absolutely, we need healthy fat by way of coconut oil, avocado oil, avocados, or extra virgin olive oil is another one, flax seeds, chia seeds. Those should be in the mix as well to fight inflammation in the body and boost your immune system. So I like to offer this. Complement the meat or seafood. Complement all of your other foods, if you will, the plant-based foods with the meat or seafood. That should not be the premier star of your plate. 3 to 4 ounces would be great. And then also make sure that the quality of those products is really high and that you have it. And from a dairy standpoint, lots of people have a hard time digesting dairy. So if you do choose to eat it, I say a few rules. Make sure that it's whole fat. Make sure that it's organic. And eat it like a condiment. We don't need to douse everything in cheese. If you order eggs at a restaurant or you make them, you get cheese. If you order a salad, it's got cheese. If you know the picture, right? So we don't need it every time. It doesn't give us any of those phytonutrient benefits. So use it like a condiment and make sure it's a high quality source.
Good, thanks. The next question is the difference between the cooked vegetables and the raw vegetables. I'm wondering specifically if the sliced tomatoes and green peppers on my pizza count towards my vegetable consumption, or is that, are you more talking about the raw kinds of vegetables?
No, they absolutely count. And it's interesting that a lot of vegetables will actually increase in nutrient content in your micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. when you cook them. You don't want to overcook them, but the research shows anywhere from a 3 to 7 minute steam is what they looked at, can enhance a lot of the nutrient profile for your body. So absolutely mix it up. Keep it interesting so that you keep eating those vegetables, but they all count.
Got it. Thanks. There's been a lot written lately about fasting and the health benefits of fasting. What's kind of your take on that?
Fasting has been around for generations. I mean, it's been around for hundreds of years. It's a hot thing right now, just as we go in these waves of programs and everybody's doing it kind of thing. But I do believe in the health benefits. It can do a few things. Number one, it can help reset your metabolism. Anytime we give our metabolism a little shock or a difference from what we're doing every day, it'll give it a boost. So that's fantastic. If you want to reach health benefits like autophagy, which is where your body kind of destroys its own toxins and waste, they say that you need to fast for 16 hours or greater. So that's a longer fast. Most people fast for 12 hours. If you stop eating dinner at 7 p.m., you don't eat until 7 a.m., it's a 12-hour fast. So if you carry yourself through noon every day, you're going to have that 16-hour window, which can be very detoxifying for the body. I would lend caution just to make sure that your energy level is okay. If you're diabetic, that you're managing needs of your body. But in general terms, people do pretty well with it. The last thing I would share is that if you do a 16-hour fast like that, don't eat a big, like 1,500 calorie meal right out the gate. It's really hard for your system. Eat a 500 calorie snack, apple and some nuts or something. And then maybe 45 minutes later, half an hour later, eat a nice meal.
Good, thanks. When we talk about scheduling breathing breaks into our day and exercise and moving into our routine, is there kind of a target number that you're looking at, or?
I love the breathing every hour on the hour,
Okay.
because if you think about us sitting at our computers, this is the visual that I have, and there's a lot going on, and you've got needs coming in from your home now, and you've got needs coming in from work through email. I mean, we end up like this, our ears are up to our shoulders, up to our ears, like the anxiety builds up, and we sit all day like that. So I just need you to take a break every hour on the hour. Time yourself to go through 5 deep abdominal breaths. It might take you a couple of minutes, but it will allow your body to get that calm and reset. And then from a movement standpoint, I also tell you should breathe in the morning when you wake up and at night before bed at a minimum. And then from a movement standpoint, you know your body best. My body with the neuromuscular needs, I don't exercise typically more than 30 minutes at a time. Unless we go hiking or something, I can do longer periods. But I love the high impact mixing higher intensity exercise with stationary exercise. So I might run my flight of stairs 10 times and then go into a 1-minute plank, and then do some wall sits and then do jumping jacks. You can get creative, but research does share with us that the cardiovascular benefits of a high intensity exercise program like that can be very similar to running for an hour's time. So shift your mindset with the inability to get to a gym right now just because of the quarantine and sheltering and stuff. Get creative at home. You don't need to buy a bunch of stuff. Do wall sits, do push-ups, sit-ups, planks, run your stairs, do jumping jacks, high knees, arm circles, seated squats. There's a lot you can do in a day. And I would encourage you, if you can, if your office is private, do a plank or some jumping jacks or some seated squats or something during the day on some of those breaks. It will boost your energy. You'll feel alert and kind of refreshed to get back at it.
That's good advice. Thanks. What about trackers, devices, Fitbits? Are people who use those more successful, or does it really have an impact, or what have you seen with that?
I will say that I haven't read enough research and I'm not an expert on those applications to know, but what I believe is, I've seen this in my own family, I'm just gonna say, and I can be guilty of it too. I have a Fitbit tracker, but it doesn't necessarily make me do anything differently. It's still my choice that I have to take ownership of and figure out how I'm going to implement. So I think the fitness trackers can be helpful because it tracks your progress, right? You can look at the end of the day and say, wow, I got in X number of steps, or you burned this many calories. It's good motivation and momentum to keep going. But to wear one of those things and think it's going to help you to get the job done, I got to tell you, that starts here with you, yourself, and I, right? And you got to make that commitment to do it. So helpful tools, but make sure that you're not depending on it to be your source of motivation for that.
Good, thanks. There was a question about CBD oils, creams, of course, the legal ones we're talking about here. Have you seen any health benefits or impact from the use of those?
I've read a little on that. They can help with chronic inflammation in the body. I have read that. Other things that can help with reducing inflammation in the body are turmeric, ginger, pineapple. Breathing can help reduce inflammation, and best sleep practices. So not quantity of sleep, but making sure you're getting quality of sleep. And making sure that you're getting plenty of high fat in the diet, healthy fat in the diet. You can even have a higher fat diet, is where I was going. So instead of processed foods, using oils for your own cooking and baking, like avocado and coconut oil at high smoke point or medium heat, and then extra virgin olive oil at medium heat at best. Those are the routes I would take more. If you're looking for, you need something to help with inflammation immediately on this spot, you can also look at arnica, which is an herb, and it's natural too, and can be used for inflammation and joint pain, things like that. But I have read a bit on it. Again, I'm not an expert on CBD, so I tread very carefully for that. But I do know that it shows to decrease inflammation in the body.
Good, thanks. And the final question is about caffeine, limits, recommendations, thoughts around the 22 cups of coffee I have with my tomato and green pepper pizza in the morning.
Okay, we need to talk after this, Patrick. Here's the deal with caffeine. I tell everyone, you can find just as much research to support caffeine as you should to not drink caffeine, right? So here's my kind of my guidelines, or what I share with clients, is caffeine should never be your go-to source for energy. If you're drinking 1 to 2 cups of caffeine a day because you enjoy it, I drink green tea a couple times a day. I enjoy the benefits of it. Most of it has caffeine in it, so I'm going to have that. But I don't depend on that caffeine for my energy source. If you get into a place of dependency, like 22 cups a day, we've got a problem, because caffeine provides what is called like negative energy or artificial energy. It's making you feel like you have more energy, but it's actually depleting your sources even more. So we keep getting, backlog of more negative or removing energy from the body, which is not good. So if you're in a place right now where you're drinking 22 cups of caffeine a day, and if those 22
slight
cups
exaggeration,
sugar,
slight.
if those cups of caffeine have sugar, if you're looking at sodas or caffeinated energy drinks or whatever, that's a hardship too for the body. So I would tell you, if you're in that place of what I would call crisis, replace one caffeinated beverage with water and just work on that for a week or two, and then replace another with water. And it could be a flavored like herbal water, or put fruit in there or something, but start making those swaps and build up slowly, kind of using that crowding out method that we talked about before, instead of just going cold turkey off of all of it.
Right. Good. That's all the questions we have. Do you have any other closing comments to leave us with?
I do. Let me wrap up really quick. Let's see. I also see, okay, we got a question there. The thing I want to offer to you, Patrick, and all of your members is that we have a secure page on our website with additional goodies. There are smoothie recipes in there to incorporate some of those foods I talked about, stress busting strategies. There's a whole bit on nutrition and kind of the idea behind macro, micro, phytonutrients. Use these, go grab them, give them to your teammates and colleagues, share away, I don't mind. You just go to angelagaffney.com/goodies, as it shows here on the slide, and all caps with the space in between, it's 2 words, unlock goodies is the password. and that's for you. I'll wrap up with a quick story, because the bottom line is, when it comes to stress and staying healthy through any crisis or shift or change like this, is in every matter. The question is, and I have to tell you, before we went into the safe shelter mode, I made a final, pit stop at the grocery store, and I had this massive cart, just like everybody. I wasn't hoarding, but I had plenty to last a family of 4 and 4 pets, for a few weeks' time. And this woman behind me in line had her big cart too, and the lines were long. So we were standing there. It's probably a good 20-30 minute wait. And she said to me, aren't you worried about all of the toilet paper being gone and this and that? All these people are hoarding everything. And I said, well, no, I said, I'm not too stressed out about it. I said, I believe there'll be enough in time, and she said, but everybody's taking all the food. I tried to get chicken and there was no chicken. She said, all these people are take things now, and when we need them, it'll be there when I come back. And if not, I can always shift and try something new. I just kept the calm pace, and she was getting very worked up. I could tell she was very worried about the situation, and she kept coming back at me, but aren't you worried about this? And I said, no, I said, I really choose in life to participate in a calm and positive way. Because what I've realized over time is the stress of worrying about all that and engaging all of that, it does nothing to serve myself, my family, my colleagues. It doesn't serve anybody well. So I want to leave you with a final thought. Whether you're standing in the grocery store line, whether you're sitting in a doctor's office and get diagnosed with the disease they told me would take my life, or whether we're sitting in our offices today taking part in an incredible virtual conference that these folks put together in just 2 weeks' time, inundated with a lot of information that you have to digest and take away and figure out how you're going to use it effectively, it can all be stressful. Positive stress, negative stress, and everything in between. But we get to choose how we participate, and we get to choose every day to show up in a great way. So I'll leave you with the yes, I get to show up every single day attitude, because it makes a difference. And the words that you choose to use for yourself and others absolutely matter. In our website and phone number, if you need help with your team, if you want to do something more with me, or reach out for any reason, you have questions about today, AngelaGaffney.com is the website, and our phone number is 800-504-9726. I saw that you asked about password and stuff. I can post that in the chat, Patrick, if you would like, so that you can share it. Would you like to do that? Would you like me to?
Well, we're going to do both. We're going to post it on the ANTEC page, because I'm getting inundated with folks. Apparently, this is a stressful time for us, and your very good practical advice, I think, is a welcome beacon of light at a time when we all need it. So, on the SPE website, on the ANTEC pages, we'll post the links to your site and the passwords for our members, so that they can get in and take advantage of your good knowledge and your sharing.
Perfect. I'll also offer this. We're putting together a quick, I call it a sit and sip, every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, for the next 4 Wednesdays, April 1st through the 22nd. It's just a time where I hop on and I just give you strategies to kind of focus on for the week. A sit and sip means fill up your cup and join me for 20 minutes. I'm going to give you 20 minutes of content and about 10 minutes of Q&A. And then you're on with the program, whatever you got going on that day. So just quick little tips to help you stay the course. That's just free, nothing. We just want to offer that gift to you. So anybody who texts will get that information. The email's going out today. So you can reach out if you don't receive that email, but you'll surely get it next week too. Patrick, thank you to you and the team for inviting me to serve. It's always my greatest joy. And I'll be keeping you all in positive thoughts here as you continue on with conference. And if there's anything I can do for you and your members and their teams, please do let me know. And thank you so much.
Thank you. You've been very generous with your giving to the SPE community, and we've appreciated that. I've been part of your materials. I'm part of your group, so I get the emails and the reminders, and it's always really great information. So thanks again for that, and thanks for your sharing this with us today at a time when we really need it.
Absolutely. Take
Good.
care and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the morning session of our kickoff of virtual ANTEC. As I reminded you earlier, this is just the start. We have 5 more weeks of programming, 10 more keynote speakers, 200 technical presentations, virtual networking opportunities, and lots more. If you're interested in seeing the schedule or in registering for ANTEC, please come to our website, the number 4spe.org/ANTEC, ANTEC. Register using the code Monday for 10% off your registration fee. That's available for a short time. We will kick off the afternoon session at 1 p.m. Eastern. That will be available through the link on Zoom. The YouTube live stream will end after this, but we look forward to seeing you all this afternoon for our technical program. Thank you all for attending. Stay well.